What up, it's your boy Roy Jones Jr. Right now you're checking out Lineal Boxing TV with Birdie. Don't miss it, the man is fantastic.
So Steve Bird, Lineal Boxing TV, joined with my mate Marcus Kowal. Really lucky to be introduced to you. I think it was like, just saying, about 10 years ago, through Fernando. And he told us
Was that here?
That was here.
In Los Angeles?
Los Angeles, and he said, get in touch with you. You take us out, show us the bright lights of LA. I've sort of been a little bit obsessed with it ever since, so thanks very much for that.
Of course.
All the guys back home say hello. So, oh, actually,
my love.
before I forget to do this.
Oh, black licorice. Thanks for all sorts. You know, America, you're great at a bunch of things, but not making licorice. I'll tell you that right now. And it's a fake version of all sorts licorice, and it's not at all as good. Thank you so much.
No, you're welcome, mate.
I feel hungry too. Perfect. I have to put this down or I'm gonna eat the whole thing.
Thanks for your time. I can just see how busy you are. So we're in the Systems Training Centre. You've got 4 gyms, right?
Yes, we're at the Systems Training Centre in Westwood, very close to UCLA here in Los Angeles. One in Hawthorne, one in Inglewood, one in Encino, and most of our fighters come out of Hawthorne and Inglewood.
Yeah.
Just you know, piece of the sport, I guess. You know, most people a lot of times come from not so great areas, and fighting is the way out of poverty for them.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You know, I'm very happy and proud of what we've created, because we created an environment through martial arts. Take people and give especially young males that are high risk factor for, you know, it's either a gang or doing something productive and positive, and I love it. I'm very happy for what we've done.
Yeah, done really well. So it seems to be a real good vibe in these sort of gyms. You see it on Facebook, social media, really good attitude. It's all different levels, isn't it?
Yeah, from people, we start kids as young as 3 years old, and that was always my vision of, you know, martial arts giving me so much, and 90% again of our people have no interest in being fighters, but they're being taught by real fighters. They're the coaches, and to create an environment through martial arts that's making this world a little bit better of a place, and I think we're on the right track.
So let's just go a little bit back to yourself. You're a pro kickboxer.
Yes.
Started in 2001. I
had my very first amateur kickboxing fight at the Cadbury Chocolate Factory in Coventry, and I turned pro in 2001, so that was my first pro fight in Mexico City. Yeah. And then transitioning, you know, I fought boxing amateur as well, Golden Gloves, Title Boxing World Championships, and then I transitioned into mixed martial arts as well. Yeah. And
mixed martial arts is where you really sort of found your niche, wasn't it? That's it's really insane sort of training, isn't it? You see some of these guys and.
You know, it's funny because I'm kind of the first generation, you know, where now when you see this generation, they're all hybrid fighters. They all train everything: boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, wrestling. We didn't have a lot of that, you know. I was a kickboxer, and I had a lot of fights going into my first MMA fight. And once you had a lot of fights, it's almost like autopilot, like, all right, here we go. And I remember the first MMA fight, I'm like, all right, what do I do now? You know, it was different. But especially back then when I started, I was first and foremost, my weight class didn't really exist, 135. But also, because I was a kickboxer, I always felt like I'm willing to strike with anyone. You know? And I just need to learn some of that ground stuff, and I'll be fine. And I already knew how to cut weight and all these things. I've been doing it for years. So it was a good transition. And it's funny, I started off as a kickboxer, and then I started boxing to improve my hands. And then I fell in love with boxing, and then I started doing that as well. And then I started training jiu-jitsu for the MMA, and I fell in love with jiu-jitsu. So I just love combat. I love martial arts.
Yeah, but it seems like with the MMA, you put everything together and then just sort of use that to. And actually, you've trained with some great people. Anderson Silva. It's really sort of like high level you've fought at, you've trained at.
I've been lucky to be around some of the best, and you know, like Anderson Silva, in my opinion, is the greatest of all time. And but Uriah Faber and all the guys from Alpha Male, and you know, Clay Guida, and Verdum was one of my first jiu-jitsu coaches. I trained just train and spar. Back then, especially, I didn't really know better. I thought, you know, I got to spar with these guys. I got to train under Rafael Cordeiro, spar with Vanderlei Silva. These guys are way bigger than me. But for me, it was like, wow, it's about being tough.
Yeah.
You know, but it's not, because I actually feel like a bigger guy benefits more from sparring with a smaller guy than a smaller guy does with a bigger guy, because a bigger guy gets to deal with the speed, which benefits them, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I get to deal with heavy punches and kicks, and it's not healthy in the long run.
Going on from that, and you're just saying all the experience, what kind of advice do you give to new guys coming into the gym that do want to fight? If there's one thing that you'd say to these people coming in.
One thing, there's a lot of things. Find the right gym and the right coach. A coach that you can
Bond
really
with
trust and bond, because you're a team.
Yeah.
You know, and in order to be a team, you have to be able to put your full, complete trust in that person. But you can't do that until you've done good research on the coach. Who have they trained before? What are they like? Don't go with the first best gym that you ever, you know, get to. You know, get to know different places and train with different people. But a lot of times what people don't realize, you know, they watch fights and they're like, oh, I'm making all that money. You have to remember, it's a really, really hard sport.
Yeah.
And
It can be short as well.
Very, very short. A lot of risk. And money isn't great until you make it to the very top.
Yeah.
And very few make it to the top. So as a workout and as a thing to do, I love it. I think everyone should train more. This world would be a better place if we all trained a little bit more martial arts.
Because nobody's got anything to prove, have they, as well?
No.
Like-
No. I always say, you know, it's not us that fight for parking
That's
spots
right,
at Whole
yeah.
Foods. It's the yogis, because they don't get their aggression out.
Yeah.